Hi, my name's Jeroen from the Clapham Property blog, and today I'm going to tell you about some letting regulations that are changing in 2019 that you need to know about. Right, so the first thing I'm going to discuss is the abolition of tenant administration fees. So from the 1st of June 2019, if you're letting a property, be it through an agent or by yourself, you're not allowed to charge the tenants any sort of fees up front to rent the property. Now, in the past, it's been perfectly normal for a letting agent or a landlord to charge a small administration fee to cover the cost of referencing, drawing up a contract, organising the inventory and so forth. Tenants have lobbied and they have convinced those in power that it's too much money, so they've abolished them altogether. So rather than pay a few £100s at the start, what I'm expecting to happen is that these costs, especially incurred via letting agents, they're going to be loaded onto the landlords. So you as a landlord will be paying your letting agent more, and if you're letting the property yourself, of course, you have to swallow all these costs. Now, I know that everyone runs buy-to-let as a commercial enterprise in order to make a profit, so naturally you can't just swallow those costs. Your product will have to increase in price. By product, I mean, of course, your rental property. So what I'm expecting to happen, and this is what I recommend you do as well, is take those costs and add them to the cost of the rental over the next year. Now, what I find is that a lot of landlords have been saying to me, well, I can't do that because the market can't take it. I'm already charging a very good rent. You're wrong. What will in fact happen is that all landlords will be increasing their rent. So your rent will go up in line with the market rent. I think we're going to see a very, very sharp increase in rents, especially in London, where the rents are reasonably high already, but admin costs are quite high as well in the capital, you see. Letting agents often get about 25% of their turnover from tenant administration fees. So if you imagine all those costs being loaded onto the landlords, you will see a very, very, very sharp increase in rents come this summer. And we've already seen quite a bit of rent increases creeping through because of the Section 24 tax changes. So no surprises there really. Tenants have opted to pay a lot more over the long run instead of to pay upfront costs. So having said that, we've dealt with the one-off administration fees. The second thing that's going to happen from 1st of June 2019 is the capping of tenant deposits. They're being capped at 5 weeks rent. It's quite customary in London to take a 6-week deposit or a month and a half, sometimes even 8 weeks if it's a very expensive high-end property. But deposits are going to be capped at 5 weeks rent. That doesn't mean if you've got a tenancy running that you just need to stop what you're doing and hand them back a week's rent. No, it's upon the next renewal or relet where you really have to worry about it. So I'll be releasing some more information closer to the time, of course. But in essence, if you are letting from the 1st of June 2019, 5 weeks rent is the maximum that you can take, and you'll be able to register with the deposit schemes and things. The other thing is when you're letting the property, the commitment monies. I suppose when you're showing a tenant round and they say, yes, we want to take it, it's quite customary for them to give you some money to hold the property for them. Be careful not to call it a deposit though, because you'll have to register it. It's holding monies, definitely. This will be capped at 1 week's rent also. So just be very careful that you don't leave yourself in a situation whereby you ask for the rest of the money too late and they do change their mind, because you'll end up with a void period. If you let your property 4 to 6 weeks in advance, like most organised landlords do, then what will happen is if you leave it until a week before to ask them for the remainder of the money and they do change their mind, you'll find that most organised tenants will have already made a decision on where to live because you've only got a week left, I suppose. So you're going to end up with a bit of a void. Now, that's a tricky situation because the legislation means that us as landlords will be left open to financial loss, I suppose, if the tenants do change their mind. But that's just a cost that we'll have to factor in. So again, it comes down to charging a little bit more over the long run in order to mitigate these financial risks. And the third thing I'm going to discuss today is the abolition of the Section 21 notice. Now, this is just under discussion. It's not gone through yet. But again, I think it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, really. Quite simply because if a tenant is in the property and they're paying rent, they're taking care of it, and you know they're taking care of it because, of course, as a responsible landlord, you're doing midterm inspections and you're having a good relationship with the tenants about how they should be treating the property, then it shouldn't be a problem. Just let the tenancy continue and renew on a fixed term every time. And you can serve a rent increase notice if you so desire. It's called a Section 13 notice, so you don't necessarily need to end the tenancy at all. So the abolition of Section 21, it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, in my opinion. If the tenant is really bad and they are mistreating the property, they're not paying your rent, chances are that they're not going to leave on the Section 21 anyway. You're going to have to apply for a court order then anyhow. So I don't really see how it will change things. I think it will give tenants this implied security, as it were, that a landlord can't end the tenancy. But in essence, I think you'll do well by offering fixed terms and offering rent increases annually so that your rent keeps in line with market trends, if that's what you're worried about, really. So that's all I want to discuss today. Those are the changes in brief for 2019. As always, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to email me on jeroen@claphampropertyblog.com. And please do give me a thumbs up, a little like, comment and share if you found this video useful. And see you next time.